Right, the Champions League returns tonight, doesn't it? And defending champions Manchester City are in action in the last 16 at first leg tie at Copenhagen. And Michael and I can speak live to former City defender Danny Mills. Good to see you, Danny. Very good morning. Just 10 wins in a row now for City, isn't it? Is this the stage of the season, I mean, where they really come into their own?
Yeah, I think we've seen it before, haven't we? You know, Sir Alex Ferguson always used to talk about you get to this stage, February, March stage of the season, and you need to be in the running. And then it's about what you do from here on in. City are always there or thereabouts. We've seen them go on incredible runs before, you know, hardly dropping any points from this sort of stage till the end of the season. You know, that incredible season, was it 14, 15 in a row, where they just pipped Liverpool to the title. They may well have to do that again this season, but they are in incredible form when it comes to the business end. They've been there, seen it and done it before.
Danny, Erling Haaland back on the score sheet, but Pep Guardiola has questioned his body language and it says it could improve when he's not scoring. What did you make of that?
Yeah, it must be awful when you go 4 games without scoring. You know, it's terrible, isn't it? And then you pop up with 2 to win the game. I mean, he's so good. He's so powerful. His movement, his finishing, everything about him is so good. You know, there will always be, I think, people say, can he do more? Because he has so few touches in the game. But he's just a constant thorn in the opposition side. He's a constant threat. He's a constant problem. Players double up on him at times. We saw that, I think, against Brentford. You know, when 2 players are marking him and at least Phil Foden spare, you know, to get his goals. If Erling Haaland keeps scoring goals, Manchester City keep winning. I think Pep's nitpicking just slightly in that one.
He's so big, though. You notice it, don't you? That's the problem. From the Incredible Sulk, the Incredible Hulk. He's one of the 2. He can be both together. Who cares? He's scoring goals, and he's doing it with Kevin De Bruyne back fully fit as well. Just how important to have these 2 fit together.
De Bruyne is, without doubt, one of, if not the best midfielder, you know, in the world. His range of passing is exceptional. His vision, everything about him is absolutely, you know, sublime. To have him back at this stage of the season, you know, he comes back, Haaland comes back from a lesser injury, if you like. If they stay fit between now and the end of the season, why can't City go on and do the double treble?
Yeah, De Bruyne's been involved in 23 of his last 23 goals in his last 23 appearances for Manchester City. If Haaland and De Bruyne stay fit, is it their title?
I think it's theirs to lose. I've said them from the very, very beginning of the season. If you finish above Manchester City, you win the league. You know, simple as that. It will be very, very difficult to do that. I know, obviously, City are in, second place at the moment. Games in hand, Champions League games to come, big games in that as well. You know, where is their focus going to be? I think, as usual, it will be on every single competition that they're in. You know, that they've been in this situation before. No one has ever won the Premier League 4 times in a row. No one's ever done, you know, the double treble. Guardiola will push his teams to be better and better and better and keep winning every single game. So they have strength in depth. When you look at the player, Haaland, De Bruyne, Rodri, they are the key players for Manchester City. If you were going to lose any of those for a period of, you know, of more than, you know, 5 or 6 games, there might just be a little bit of light for everybody else.
I mean, one thing you have said all season, anyone who finishes above City wins the league. They are 2 points behind league leaders Liverpool. They do, however, have a game in hand, don't they? Have you seen anything this weekend that makes you change your mind? Or City, I mean, absolutely still the favourites. Where do Liverpool come into this now then?
Liverpool have just got to keep winning football matches. I think we all know that Liverpool have immense firepower, have goals from lots of different positions. They'll have Mo Salah to come back, you know, sooner rather than later, we expect. Liverpool are going to win games, they're going to score goals. Simple as that. Obviously, they've got to play each other. Again, Manchester City, they have slightly more focus in some of the big Champions League games. Maybe, maybe not. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they deal with that yet again. But all Liverpool can do is win as many games as they possibly can. City, unfortunately, sometimes are so relentless that they just win more than you, and there's nothing you can do about that.
So we've seen Copenhagen beat Manchester United in the group stage. I'm sure City won't be taking it lightly, but it's a good draw, isn't it, for the knockout stages?
Oh, definitely. Manchester City, there's probably only 2 or 3 teams that Manchester City look at and think they will give us a real good game over 2 legs. Two-legged football now, Manchester City are superb. Even if they have a blip for half an hour, you expect them to come good, in the rest, of that game and then in the following game as well. So they've done it now, they've got across that line. They've been there before, they know what it takes to win. And I think what you're starting to see now with Manchester City, and I go back to, the Manchester United, when I played against that United, they're patient, they wait, they understand that they're not always going to score, 2 or 3 goals in the first half of a game. You look at what happened against Everton, they had to be very, very patient. Everton were resilient, they were dogged, they worked hard, they made it very, very difficult. But eventually, that quality that City have, they break teams down. And over 2 legs, I don't think City will have too much of a problem.
I mean, as we know, City, of course, defending champions in this competition. You said you don't think they're going to have much of a problem. Are they absolute still favourites? Or who are their main challenges?
I think Real Madrid will be there or thereabouts. I think we know that. Bayern Munich, again, have exceptionally talented team and talented players. They could challenge as well. There's always a surprise package. Maybe a team that gets to the semi-final that you maybe don't expect, comes from slightly left field. But I think, City, for strength in depth, quality, the amount of goals that they score, defensively very, very sound, strong in every single position of the pitch, and have the experience of now winning it, they have to be favourites.
What about another potential treble? I mean, Pep keen to play down their chances, and of course he would be doing that. But Luton away in the Cup, that won't be easy, of course. But the League we've just talked about, Champions League we've talked about, it can happen, Danny, can't it?
Oh, of course it can. What are they looking at now? You've probably got to win 5 games to win the Champions League. Very, very doable. I know it's difficult because they're very, very difficult teams. And over in 2-legged football, I think you'd always fancy Manchester City. FA Cup is maybe slightly trickier, simply because it's a one-off. If you have a bad half, you can be out of the game. You get 2 or 3 bad decisions that go against you, you can be out of the game, and no real fault of your own. The opposition goalkeeper can have an absolute worldie. So it's difficult, but they've been there. They've done it before. Why not? Guardiola he just wants trophy after trophy, doesn't he? He's just hoarding all these trophies. He just wants to keep winning, keep winning, keep winning. They will be there or thereabouts, without a shadow of a doubt. If they don't win 2 trophies this season, I think I would be surprised.
They've got Chelsea next. I mean, after failing to register a shot on target in the first half. Now, we've been chatting about it all morning. Of course, they turned things around to beat Crystal Palace. What do you put the contrast between those 2 halves of football down to, Danny? It was like watching 2 different teams.
I think sometimes it just comes down to throwing caution to the wind. Chelsea haven't performed well this season. We can't over-exaggerate how poor they've been. But Manchester City didn't have a shot on target for 70 minutes against Everton. But they went on to win the game, and it's business as usual. Chelsea haven't been doing business as usual this season. Sometimes you just have to sort of throw caution to the wind a little bit. It's sometimes if you're 2-0 or 3-0 down and suddenly you see a team with a resurgence and start to play really well, because all of a sudden there's nothing to lose. Maybe that was a little bit like last night. They're playing the game thinking, well, look, we're not playing well. Let's just go for it. Let's just see what happens. Because if we keep doing this, we're not going to win the game. The press, the media are going to be all over us. So let's just go out there and do something a little bit different. Play with a bit more freedom, a bit more confidence, a bit more expression, a bit more work rate. And sometimes it can be, just as simple as a very, very slight change in attitude.
We're just looking here, Danny. I think Hayley and I have earned ourselves an England cap each, haven't we, Hayley?
Ta-da!
Hey.
Look at that.
Wait, well,
Look at that.
Take your pick. You can have one each.
Sorry, hang on, sorry. Hang on, let's get back to it. Petr Cech, he said last night Chelsea should be title challengers in 2 seasons' time. I mean, you can understand why in terms of the youngsters, but can you see that happening?
I thought they'd be a lot better this season under Pochettino than what they were. You know, spent an awful lot of money, expected Pochettino to make them better than they were. For whatever reason, it hasn't happened. You know, their buying policy has been scattergun, I would say, at best. You know, that's been a really sort of interesting way of buying so many young players. Again, you go back to Manchester United, you know, when Alan Hansen's, you win nothing with kids, and obviously had the class of '92 come through. But within that squad, within that team, were very experienced senior players. Apart from Thiago Silva, Chelsea don't really have that. You have to have a blend. You've got to have the exuberance of youth. You've got to have the talent and the ability and everything that goes with that. But you need experience. You know, you look at what Manchester City have got, you know, within their ranks. Senior players that have been around for a long time, that, you know, are doing it week in, week out, that are being pushed by the younger players to be better. But also the younger players are learning from them. Chelsea just don't have the right blend. If they can get that blend right, and that's going to cost them obviously more money, they're going to have to spend more, I would expect them to be much, much better. Challenging, I still think they've got to get back in the top 4 first and foremost. You know, challenging for the title is going to be very, very difficult.
Well, we shall wait and see. But for now, thank you very much indeed, Danny.